I do. My philosophy is like I explained to one customer recently. Like there are two different philosophy in chefing world. It's either you go for local source ingredient, regardless, it's you have to work with what's around you, or you go for high quality ingredient, regardless where it comes from. So I'm more into high quality ingredient. I don't do local for the sake of doing local.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Chat.Travel. I'm your host, Tracy May, and I'm thrilled to be back at the beautiful Fusion Resort and Villas in Da Nang, sitting with a good friend of mine. He is the chef owner of Quince Saigon and also Madame Q, the legendary Julien Perraudin. Nice to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
Hello, thank you for having me, Tracy.
Absolutely. Well, we're both here from Saigon because you were a chef at the 12-hand dinner last night at this beautiful resort. It was a Escoffier event for those of you who do not know, and it was just magical. Can you tell me about it?
Oh, that's Escoffier. It's always a great bunch of comrades, let's say, and I like what they're doing all around Vietnam and bring young kids and chefs to like promote them, like, kind of give them a platform. And once in a while we always hang out or like the adventure assemble together to do several events, either in the north or in the south, or this time I think that was the first one for me in middle Vietnam. That was a great event, challenging because for once I had to come by myself without my chefs to help me. But overall good. If I may say, I have to say thank you to Olivier to organize this and also to allow some of his chefs to come give me a hand, because that was very, very helpful. But overall, great night, I think.
It was a phenomenal night. What I love about the culinary society, the family here, is that, you're a very famous chef. All of the chefs that, were participated in this dinner are all Michelin, like famous chefs. And what I love about this community is it's really a community. You guys support each other. It's not combative. There's no jealousy. It's like there's enough room for everyone to thrive and be successful.
Yeah, we can put our ego into the back pocket for a bit. There is still a little bit of ego, but yeah, we always have to try to showcase. You have to showcase when you're with your friends and great chef. You want to show up with something good as well as they want. You don't want to be the one to be training behind them. So yeah.
So let's talk about you. You grew up in France. Can you tell me your story of where you're from, where you trained, and how you ended up in Vietnam?
All right. So we have time, right? So yeah, I grew up in France, in Burgundy, in a tiny, tiny little town in La Nièvre and Le Morvan, it's called. It's a sub-region. I decided quite early, actually, and I was very lucky, and I wanted to cook. That's lucky because many kids or friends at my time never knew what they wanted to do, and they go to different scholarity only 10 years later to wake up and say, that's what I want to do now. So I was quite pleased with it. My family was very supportive of it. Even so, they were a bit scared because back then in France, that was like the old school days. It was very rough kitchen to be. I had a very difficult experience in some restaurant that was really pushy. But anyway, I ended up...
Tell me about that. Like, what do you mean, like rough experiences?
Oh, like bullying, physically abusing.
I've heard that, especially in France, that the technique was like to break you.
Yeah, but somewhere I ended up in some restaurant. I won't say the name, but they were really like the head chef had something against me, and every day was just torture, basically. There was not even about learning anything. It was just surviving. It's
wow.
But yeah, after a few bad experience, some restaurant in my town heard of this and tried to invite me to their restaurant to work, to show me then they are not all assholes. And I ended up to see what's what was every weekend when I had
We got a guest. Do you want to hang
Yeah.
out with your dad during the interview?
Hmm?
It's okay. You can hang out here if you want.
Yeah, no, the photo. Look, you have a camera crew.
Okay.
Yeah, and every
Dad
weekend
first, chef second. Right?
when I went to like close to my town was Château-Chinon. It's a town famous because François Mitterrand, the French president, at one point was the mayor of this city. So there was like a hospitality school. So that's where I joined to learn the trade. This lasted, I think 5 or 6 years at training as a chef there. When I finished this, I felt like I was not ready for the real life world of cooking. So I decided to do the final diplomas and I could get in cookery in apprenticeship. So then I joined a Michelin-starred called Manoir de Sorna, where the chef was named Gérard Raymond. And it was a pivotal moment for me because he liked to cook with a lot of spice. He traveled a lot during his military service, especially in all Southeast Asia and India, and he loved working with different spice. And his cuisine was, while using the best ingredient you can get where we're from, he was mixing with really crazy spices and different cuisines that I never seen before. Just remember, I come from a little place, so there was really not much. And I always fell in love with the learning about different cuisine and culture. So as soon as I finished my apprenticeship, after working 2 years for him, he sent me to Paris. In Paris, I worked to a big restaurant, but we were mainly doing quite a lot of evenement restaurant. And after working a year there, they sent me to like Taiwan. So we were doing like several stages in between. Every time we had days off, we will go to Taiwan, or other of my chef went to different Michelin-star restaurants. So we were no days off. We were just working on our days off to learn more. In Taiwan, I got a job after. I started in Taiwan, and I moved to their little sister, was called L'Angle du Faubourg Saint-Antoine, which was a one-star restaurant, and much more interesting for me at that age than Taiwan. Taiwan was a big machine. You were on one section, you were doing one job, and that's it. When L'Angle du Faubourg was, you could see the dish transformation from A to Z. So I could make the dish from start to finish. But when I was in Paris, I was very against, I don't know, the philosophy of working or wasting your life in a kitchen, let's say. Because I saw so many of my chefs at the time had like an amazing chef, but they had no life. Like they were married, they never see their kids, their wives. They were all sick somehow of like heart disease and spending all their time in the kitchen. And I was like, what's the point in this? Like, and kind of as much as I learned a lot, there was not as much love for cooking. The original love that I had for cooking kind of disappeared, and it kind of became work when you were not happy to get up every day to go to work. It was like making no sense. So after this, I stopped Michelin for a bit, and I moved to like a big trendy restaurant called Man Ray. It was the same than Hotel Coste or Buddha Bar. This was fun for a bit. It was very good money-wise. But then again, after you start to be like there was no much passion into those kitchens. He was just making volume, and then I started to get sick of Paris, and I decided to come back home. And somehow I always wanted to go to Spain. Because Spain was always I like the sun. Yeah, it's a nice So I was at the time I was looking for some job offer on a website called L'Hôtellerie. It's very famous in France. I don't know if it's still, but I could not find anything for Spain. So it was always here the second one.
Hey, buddy.
It was always Germany, Switzerland, or England a lot. And somehow one day my uncle came to me and said, "Oh, I've got a friend, or the brother of my best friend has a restaurant in Australia and looking for a chef." So I never thought about Australia, and it just like a plant that seed in me. And I start to look at it and I say, why not? I called the chef that was in Canberra at the time, and could not place Canberra on a map. Really, I had no clue about Australia. And I keep calling him every day, like with the time difference. So that was at night to talk to him. And he was telling me basically he would welcome me to Australia, but I have to get there by myself. At the time, it was very difficult. There was no government friendship between France and Australia. So the only way for me to go to Australia is to find a company that sponsor me.
Right.
But he didn't want to do this because he got screwed by his previous chef that he did, because it cost a lot of money for them to do this. Yeah, the guy told me, well, in the meantime, if you really want to go to Australia, go to England. Somehow, I don't know. He told me to. So I moved to England. I moved to England, to London. Work in London for 1.5 years, 2 years. First, he was in a boutique hotel in a suburb of London, and then after in a Michelin-starred restaurant called the Orrery at the time in London, and that was brutal.
Brutal? How brutal?
Brutal. It was like the days of Gordon Ramsay. So Gordon Ramsay was everybody wanted to be Gordon Ramsay. So yeah, all the kitchen were acting like Gordon Ramsay. And since I was a Frenchman in middle of the Englishman, well, there's this old rivalry that still go. And I understand this from them, because when British goes to France to work in a kitchen, it's not fun for them as well. We are like French are pretty a bit of a dick with them. And
But at least you can admit it, right?
yeah, no, I totally understand. And I kind of understood as well then the difference, because one day a guy like the sous chef at the time told me, because I was moving rank very fast in this restaurant, and I did not like this. And they told me, like, if they go to France in a Michelin-star restaurant, how long it will take for them to move from peeling potatoes to doing the sauce. And I say, a very long time, unfortunately. It's like, yeah, you in 6 months, you're already going from one to... So yeah, they had like a bit of a chip on their shoulder. I know this. But it was good because he kind of humbled me. Like they really treat me like shit. And I had to work hard to gain their respect, I guess, which I managed to do at the end. But at one point, there was Australia and France opened this working holiday visa friendship happening. So I registered and I got it. So as soon as I got it, I quit. If they listen to this podcast, I have to say sorry, but I quit this restaurant right before Christmas, which is not a thing you do in restaurants. But yeah, I wanted to spend Christmas and New Year's Eve with my family before flying on the other side of the world. So that's what I did, and I arrived in Australia with nothing, not a clue, as I say, of where I was going, not a hotel book, absolutely nothing. Just my luggage. Arrived on a January. It was 38 degrees at night. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I really questioned myself if it was the right move to do. But anyway, I stayed there for 11 years. So, yeah, I fell in love with Australia as well. Work in some great restaurants there. I could see because there are a massive Asian influence in their cuisine, because Asia is right at their doorstep. So I could learn more about Chinese cooking, about Japanese cooking, about old Thai and Vietnamese cooking. Plus all the foreign European, Middle Eastern. So I really enjoy it. And the way of it's work hard, play hard. So even if you go and we did some long hours in the kitchen, it never felt like like what I felt in France, where it was not fun. I ended up in a team was very multicultural, from people from Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australian. We were all there for the same reason, to see something new, and so it was really a very good time of my life in the kitchen, and I learned a lot there, like especially on fusion. I hate this word, but yeah, like fusion food and mixing flavor. And then after a while, because I started to want to create my own food, and I was looking for a restaurant that could let me
Do your thing.
express myself in the kitchen. I could not really find this in Australia because Australia is still a little bit racist somehow. So they never see me as an Australian, even so I became Australian, but I was always the French chef that wanted to.
What do you mean you became Australian? You got,
I've got the citizenship, yeah.
oh wow, you have citizenship.
Yeah, that was one of my goals being, one of my dreams was always to have 2 citizenships, so now I got it. And then I was, every head chef position I found was more like to keep running, like basically a manager of the kitchen. There was no really any creative input. So I didn't want to pursue. I got lost. I started to do some, not lost, but I started to do some casual chef work because there was nothing really interesting for me to sign for a long term. But then during my time in Australia, I worked with a lot of Vietnamese chefs that came from this Koto I don't know if you know Koto, heard of Koto. So it's like OGN?
Not sure.
Charity, non-organization,
Oh, okay.
non-profit. And when I was doing my pop-up restaurant in Sydney, there was the founder of Koto, Jimmy Pham, that came
Jimmy
to
Pham,
eat.
Of course. Okay.
So
Sorry, your accent's a little thick, my friend. I
yeah.
gotta like translate in my brain. Sorry.
And then I talked to him, and he told me, "Oh, do you want to come to Saigon to they were moving the original training school to a different location." I said, "Do you want to join us and be the head chef there?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I took a massive pay cut and moved to Vietnam. Now, knowing that I've been many years trying to move to Southeast Asia, Thailand in particular, because I always fell in love with Thailand. I love Thai food. At the time, I had my girlfriend, now my wife that you met, which is Thai. So traveling back and forth between Thailand and Australia was costly. So I said, if I can go to Thailand, I will go to Thailand. I could not find anything in Thailand because it was always hotel searching. My resume is not hotel founded, so I receive a lot of no, a lot. But then, like talking to a lot of friends, I moved to Asia and came back. Told me the hardest part was to put a feet at the door to Asia, and once you're in, you're in.
Right.
The hardest part is to get in. So with Koto, I was like, okay, let's take a pay cut, and I always loved the message of Koto and what they did with the kid. All the kids I work from Koto were amazing. So I moved there, and then I learned same the hard way, but I was good Vietnam. So arrived in Vietnam, I hated it. I hated Vietnam for the first 6 months. I really hated it.
Really?
Yeah, but I
What
was
did you hate about it? Like,
I was into my Koto bubble, so I did not see any other foreigner. I was always with my Vietnamese crew. All the admin of Koto were Vietnamese, but really Hanoi based, so they were
very rigid.
let's say that.
Politically correct, rigid.
And what I didn't like about Vietnam at the start, it reminded me of France. It really reminded me of France. The whole bureaucracy, to pay your apartment, withdraw money was so painful. Everything was painful.
What year was this?
That was 2014.
Okay, so hot minute ago.
It was, it reminded me exactly of why I left France. Everything was just when compared to coming from Australia, where everything was online, it was very easy to You didn't have to queue to get anything. Vietnam was not that. And at the time, I find the Vietnamese back then were like still really, like really hard. They were not Thai, let's say, with tourism or foreigner coming. They were really hardcore and did not really care about if you like them or not. And they will, most of them will prefer give you no deals and a good deal. So either they rip you off or they're no deal. So now it changed a lot. I'm very pleased it changed a lot. That to change for tourism reason. But yeah, the first 6 months was horrible, and I was really working because it was a new restaurant opening, and so I was working 7 days a week. I just go in the morning, come back at night in my little apartment in D7, and that's all. Eat 2-minute noodles. Yeah, that's all I did. And then, thanks God, there was the Nosh initiative, I'll call it, at the time, when like Bien was behind it back then, with the grain studio that was above Zoo at the time. So I decided to do like a Saigon week foodie things, but in a fun way with different chefs. So somehow I got an email and I meet them and I started to meet other chefs. So especially like Jay from was at Mekong Merchant at the time. So with Jay they start to show me around and like the other foreign chefs which are there as a community, the F&B community in Saigon. So now I started to see more and more of the possibility of Vietnam, meet more people. And then I really kind of fell in love with it. But in between, I already got a job in Thailand, and my contract was over, and I had to fly to Thailand to get my job. And I flew back. I remember the last event Nosh we did was a day before my first son was born. I flew back on the day he was born. And I remember my trip from the airport from my District 7. I closed everything, packed up my bag. And as I was watching Saigon going through my eyes by the window, I was like, I'm going to miss this place. Like there's something, I need to come back. There's something to be done. It's like I always find there's something mystical in Saigon, in here. Then like moved to Thailand, got my kids, got work in Phuket in a resort. Fun at start, and then I really didn't like it. It was not very the most creative for chef. And then I had a friend in Phuket that wanted to expand in Bangkok and wanted to give me the name of his restaurant in Phuket, and I was really interested by this. But let's say fate has it that it took longer than planned for me to get the job. And in the meantime, one of my good friends, chef in Bangkok, which was the original Chef of Quince Bangkok, told me as they're looking for someone to open Quince in Saigon, would you be interested? I was like, yeah, sure. But I was just as an opening chef. So I moved to Bangkok, meet the guys from Quince, did a couple of food tastings. I loved it. Then I start working, I relocate from Phuket to Bangkok, start working at Quince. I work at their Café Lucas. Then they had to find some job for me because they was paying me in the meantime of starting Saigon. They sent me to Laos in Luang Prabang for 2 months for like consulting. That was a great time as well, to work in Laos. And then in meantime, they asked me if I wanted to be the executive chef of Quince Bangkok. So now there was no more, I will be just the opening chef. I was the chef, so I took over.
Be creative and do your thing.
Yeah. Quince Bangkok, not really, because they had a menu that was working. I could be creative with my special, but not with the menu. And there was a lot of problem with the menu, so it took a lot of meeting with them to really push my ideas and say, okay, if you want to sort out the costing and all this, let me do my thing. But in the meantime, I had to find a chef as well to help me in Bangkok while I was starting to travel to Saigon. And then yeah, when it was time, I moved to Saigon and opened Quince, and it is what it is now. And
C'est
so
ça.
voilà. I told you that will be a
Voila.
long, and I tried to
No,
make
it
it
was
short. I tried to make it
actually,
short.
it's so fascinating to hear your story because it's the first time we've ever talked about it. So, wow, what a journey. Well, let's talk about Quince, right? The first restaurant that I had dinner in before I even moved to Vietnam. I'm in love with your food. Your nori taco is like off the charts. So how, what's you were talking about spices earlier, right? And what's so amazing about Vietnam is that there are flavor profiles and spices and botanicals that are quintessential to this country and only found here. How have you incorporated, like, it must be a playground for you to be able to play with all of these incredible ingredients, not fusion, but incorporate the soul and heart of Vietnam in these flavors into your food, which you do.
A little bit, little bit. No, I'm not. Like I'm not turning. I go everywhere. So if you see my menu, I can talk like about some dishes. Why I do dishes. It's always like a part of my life. Somewhere I travel, what did I like to eat? So Vietnam. Sometimes it's more the herbs. I love the herbs and some the peppers in Vietnam. I really like this. But I'm not going as far as doing pure Vietnamese. I don't know, I need to be really amazed, and I'm very as well cautious because most of my market is Vietnamese people. So, and I see it as well with Vietnamese chef providing food for Vietnamese people. They are very proud of their food, understandably. So if you start to give them your version of bun bo hue, call it bun bo hue, and they come and they have an expectation for bun bo hue, and it's not this, you get murder. So I try to be very careful with this, and
Well, I guess as a foreign chef, because that's what Peter Kung Franklin does. He reinvents,
yeah,
traditional
yeah,
food and makes it, but he's also
he's
Vietnamese, so
also
maybe he
Vietnamese.
gets away with
Yeah.
it more.
And he's very good at expressing. I'm not at all. I'm not a great talker. So, um, but I did some like dishes at the start, like boko, because I like, but I did it my way. It doesn't look like anything like a boko. I don't call it a boko. It's but if people eat it, I like the fact they say, "Oh, it's remind me of a boko." Yeah, you got it. But I will never call it boko. I even get in trouble with French people for doing different tartare, which are not traditional tartare. So it's yeah.
Yeah, but your food, but I was saying that your food is so creative, and you touch upon. I think you just shared with us your history in culinary, right? I mean, there's obviously French technique, and that's the root of what you do. But as I said, your nori taco. You know what I mean? Like it's that's based on a what Japanese. You know what I mean? Like you touch upon. Like now I understand your menu because it seems like it is a culmination of that incredible journey that you've taken as a chef and all of those life experiences that you had, and you've been able to take that and put it into dishes on your plate that are so creative and interesting and pay homage to your legacy in culinary, right?
And pay homage to all the some restaurant I went and had a dish and I said, "Oh, that's incredible. How can I?" And I keep this in mind. And one day I was like, "Okay, I'm going to try to do have the same feeling or emotion by creating a dish the same way as I eat it their food, like the noritako. You say, like I share with you early. He came when I went to, you know the name of the restaurant more than me, Hanare Unganare in Tao Dien, and I'd always get the spicy salmon roll, and this is so good. And I was like, oh, how can I do this at Quince? How can I get this flavor to Quince? And I did the noritako. That's as simple as that. And it's not as good as their.
Yeah,
I'd
we
say
were
I still
talking about it
prefer
earlier.
the
Like,
roll.
there's a restaurant that he recommended for on an interview for the Dot magazine, and it's called Han Hare in Taudin. And I'm a major sushi lover, and mind blown, so good, great prices, amazing fish. So highly recommend from the both of us. So why don't we talk about your wood fire cooking. Am I correct that you can go through like literally a ton of wood in a week?
Yeah, something like this. It's mainly like I think we do three or 4 ton every 3 weeks.
It's crazy. And you built like specific ovens for this?
Yes, so
Tell me about that.
with like the kitchen suppliers and I work, I told him that I wanted a wood oven. So we took a lot of inspiration from like Burns End in Singapore, and I was like, okay, how to build a wood oven? So I remember because he asked me like, okay, how deep do you want it? And I was like, not a clue. Like I never built an oven in my life. So I was like, I start to see like the size of a brick, and I try to find like different photo on internet and start counting the brick inside to kind of say, okay, that's the kind of oven I like. So it has to be X amount, not 15 time whatever a brick is long, and then yeah, he did it. I mean, we had time to do it, so like a good 3 months back and forth of sharing ID, drawing, and finally managed to do it. And it's still holding. We're soon going to change it, by the way. We need a little update on the oven because it's it's time. It's
need
time.
some Botox, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'm a bit sad. I mean, it has to be done because through the year, because usually wood oven are built against like a hard surface, but at the back of a wood oven it's hollow. So after 7 years at throwing wood inside and tapping on a brick, the back of the oven start to push out. So before the whole thing, the flames start to escape at the back, let's say.
Before there's a massive fire at Quince, got to fix that problem.
Well, we know how to deal with fire, so that's okay. That's our friend. But yeah, we're going to change the whole oven very soon. Unfortunately, I have to get rid of the bricks, which I love. But it's going to be like much more like a new surface, more.
Got it. Well,
But yeah, it will be a bit of a sentiment. But it'd be good to have a brand new shiny toy in a kitchen, especially the oven.
nice. Well, we talked about, I mean, the fact that you were one of the first fine dining restaurants. Like you came before the explosion of fine dining. Now, I mean, it seems to me, in Taudine, like every time I walk down a street, there's some new gastropub, there's some new celebrity chef doing some wine bar or whatever it is. It's blowing up. But Quince has been there for a long time. How do you continue to reinvent? Because now it's becoming a saturated marketplace in Saigon, and there's a lot of competition, but you're always packed. So how do you keep reinventing yourself to be able to attract the same audience that has been coming from the beginning to attracting tourists who are coming to visit Vietnam for the first time?
That's a very good question. I think we still love what we do at the end. We still love good food, good wine, good like Kim now on the floor is incredible and everybody love her. So she's bringing with the team like a great hospitality
Energy.
side of it. And yeah, when you say fine dining, like I never saw Quince as fine dining because that was never the goal. I always wanted like a kind of an Australian approach in so a place like when you go and have, I say, good food, good wine, good hospitality, without the stuffiness and you have to, like you're scared to.
But that seems to
make
be
a
a
sound.
trend as well, right?
Yes,
because
but-
your food is amazing, and I would consider it fine dining, but it doesn't need to be stuffy. Look at Le Comptoir, you know what I mean? That is fine
Yeah,
dining,
yeah.
but Olivier has created an atmosphere where you want to hang out and drink wine and eat cheese and eat a sandwich if you
Yeah,
want,
'cause I
or
think,
eat a multi-course meal.
Olivier is like me, like I think both like maybe Le Comptoir and Quince are like auberge kind of things in France. Like it's not a bistro or but yeah, kind of a farm auberge feelings with good product and cook. Well, doesn't need to be the most pretty thing, but we're into tasty. Like
very,
Olivier
very
said,
tasty.
he needs fox à goutte.
So
À toi, Olivier.
so have some of your cocktail. So, but you say that the reinvention comes from your staff and the way their hospitality approaches, or how often do you reinvent your menu?
Not as much as I wish because I mean it's not a bad thing. I'm in a planning now to reinvent a lot of things because people keep telling me I never change as much as before. So I'm going to give them what they want, a change. But I know the same people will come and complain and, oh, why did you remove this? Because I like it. Yeah, but you be careful what you wish for. Yes. But like I always say to a customer, if something is gone, well, I mean, that's something I made. I want the recipe. I can bring it back if I want to.
Do not lose the pate or the nori taco, my friend.
Now, the pate stay. The nori taco, I want to give him a facelift in a more convivial manner, but keep doing the individual for
It's awesome.
set menu. We will. I'm working to do to offer a set menu because some people like this. But I think the force of Quince is mainly a la carte. The freedom of they can all come and if they want a very expensive meal, they can have an expensive meal. If they want something more moderate, they can as well. I think it's the freedom of in a marché now, in a market where all the restaurants confine you to a set menu and that's it. I think that's why Quince is still relevant after all this year. We still offer great food, great take on food. We don't. Our force, we are not. We are not boxed. We did not box ourselves into a certain style of cuisine. We are not like a Spanish or Italian, or we are everything. There is Spanish dish, Italian dish, French dish, Thai inspired, Vietnamese inspired, Japanese inspired, Korean inspired, Chinese inspired. I change depending on my mood. You'll see me going to France for 1 month on holiday. I'll come back. I will maybe put more French dish on the menu. I will go soon in Thailand. There might be more Thai-inspired dish, depend on my mood. That's why. So doesn't matter. It's a borderless cuisine.
It is borderless cuisine and it's delicious. Keep doing you, boo. That's how we say in the States. Keep doing you, boo. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability because it's such a.
I hate this word.
I know. I'm sorry. it's like the F word.
Okay, I'm going to get political on this.
But no. But I really, you're one of the top chefs in Saigon, right? And it's really a buzz topic right now in culinary because, the farm to table movement, which is really important, but there's also a lack of certain, things there's certain things that Vietnam is incredible for: seafood, the vegetables, obviously, produce, amazing, herbs, amazing, but they haven't figured out beef yet. Duck, amazing, but the chicken thing is a little off. You know what I mean? So how do you balance, especially with your customers, staying local and sustainable with your suppliers and your farms that you work with, but also satisfying the needs of someone who wants an Aussie beef, ribeye, for example?
Well, my philosophy is, like I explained to one customer recently, like there are two different philosophies in chefing world. It's either you go for local source ingredient, regardless, you have to work with what's around you, or you go for high quality ingredient, regardless where it comes from. So I'm more into high quality ingredient. I don't do local for the sake of doing local. If I'm using local duck at Quince, the reason why I'm using local duck is not to say, oh, it's from Vietnam or whatever. It's because I tried all the French import duck. It did not came close to the quality of the local duck in Vietnam. So also I went through a lot of different duck supply because it's very hard to know the traceability, how it's done. Is it always the same duck? They always tell you yes it is, but that's a problem, and this is it's not even to the farmer until the government doesn't do proper law about it like we do in Europe. That they can still get away with doing whatever they want. But yeah, like this, after it's up to the supplier, the distributor, to make sure then it's always the same quality, because if we are not happy, we tell them, they are not happy as well, and they will like fish. It's they have great fish. It's just for Quince the menu, because he has to be consistent. I cannot use some because we're doing a lot of covers. So I'm not talking about fine dining restaurant that do 18 people every day and a small portion. We do like I have to have the same fish always. That's expectation my customer has. So I need to provide this, and the only way now is to source outside, because as much as I have some great fish here, I might have it tomorrow and then I have to wait another 3 months to get the same thing. So it's
So it's the inconsistency of the supply chain that makes it hard.
yeah, with the expectation of the customer. Let's say that. If I had a small bistro and yeah, every day I can do like a fish, market fish, whatever comes. That's when I cook. But that's not what Queens do. So that's why we're using. And as much as I try to use different fish like turbot or dory, or people, our customer like two fish. It's sad. It's always we always come back to two fish. It's two fish. The
toothfish.
yeah, Patagonian
Yeah.
sea bass, and that's what they like. And I think when people come to Queens, because we are known for our high quality ingredient, they don't want to eat some kingfish, or not kingfish, but like a Spanish mackerel that comes. That's not the reason why they come to Queens. So I think I have to understand what we created first, the expectation of our customer, and give them what they expect. It's like there is a sense of luxury when we talk about sustainability, and there is a luxury people, because all those sustainability talks come from all those lifestyle magazine, and they like talking about this. But lifestyle magazine promote as well the Porsche, the Lamborghini, the best perfume, the best jet, private jet, and the yacht, and how it's sustainable. And why do they put this word sustainability on the F&B? How fair is this? Like, I always thought if all the journalists wants to talk about sustainability, go talk to the government about sustainability, not to the guy trying to run. It's hard enough to run a restaurant, and we are not F&B. Unfortunately, is not F&B. It's not based on sustainability like as ecosystem. Most of our customers travel to get there from overseas. Always like there was this thing when people come to restaurant, and if we serve them Aquapana or San Pellegrino or any other like Evian or whatever maybe, and told us, oh, why this is not sustainable, why you take your water from overseas, why you don't have local water, which we do as well. But then after they're going to buy a Chablis, and it's like, well, then why don't we get some Chateau d'Alette?
Yeah, exactly.
If we want to talk locality. So yeah, it's but yeah, like we talk with a lot of my chef friends, we are more into, when I talked about sustainability, it's sustainability in a business. We need to make our business sustainable first, which we can provide work for our staff, make our work the life for the staff at work sustainable between them, so they're happy to stay, happy to come to work. That's more a sustainability that I'm into, more than just having a fish and then you place it in a sous vide bag wrapped in cling film and cook it sous vide. How is that sustainable? I mean, my way of cooking is more sustainable, I will say, than I'm cutting a lot of trees, but it's coffee trees been used already.
Nice. Can we just a couple more questions for you, my friend? Who are your heroes in culinary? Like, if you had your mentors, because you know, obviously with Escoffier and Bouche d'Or, your participation is all about mentorship, right? So who are your major mentors?
Mentors and heroes are different. Like mentors is like say my chef when I was apprenticeship. That was a big mentor because he teach me about. I always say he was my dad outside, my real dad, because he had like a really father-son relationship with me. He was like a hard love, but he took time to really teach me the why, the how, and all the spice, talking to me about his travel, and that's why I fell in love with. Well, the way I cook is because I like to travel, and traveling is kind of my muse. Different cooking too, and I like the fact that with cuisine you can understand the history of a country. So he's my main mentor. After hero in cooking, and I like Michel Bras. I always like what he did, and I think what he did back then in France is still it's timeless. If you look at his cookbook, he hasn't aged. Some cookbook, like some food age not very well, but his food is still really relevant. We talk about like everything. You talk about sustainability, farm to table, locality. He did all this before everybody else.
Before it was a buzzword.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's always because farm to table. Everything is farm to table. Really, it's Pierre Gagné. I always like his cooking because he goes a bit everywhere. There are no kind of rules in his cooking, per se, like how we get different ingredients combined together. I mean, one of my mentors as well, I will have to say my two chefs when I was in Australia, so it was Paul Wilson and Sean Donovan. Paul Wilson was this big guy, as big as me, very big.
He's a tall man, by the way. Yeah, big guy.
But his cooking was very refined for a big guy. There was, and he's the one who really introduced me as well. He was not, even though he was European, he was not scared to go into Chinese cookery. And Sean Donovan make me realize what I left and how much I love French cooking. That is because he's an amazing cook when it comes to French food, and I like his style of it's very generous. It's all his restaurants in Australia are great. And then after I like David Chang. That was one of my cookbook. I love to read like his Momofuku cookbook. I love to read from because he had this approach of he was genuine. The cookbook was very genuine. He was not politically correct. He talked what he was thinking, and yeah, I like this. And I always like to see him on interview, especially when he did a lot of interview back then with René Redzepi. So on one side you have René Redzepi talking about sustainability, blah blah, and David Chang saying it's all bullshit. But yeah, I always like the contrast between both of them, and they're very good friends as well. So.
Oh, awesome.
But else, I know he's not a chef. Bourdin always like I think Bourdin is in all his cooking. Well, the book Kitchen Confidential was always.
He's my hero too. I want to be the female Anthony Bourdain. That's what this is all about, my friend. If I can live in his memory and travel the world and eat beautiful food and get to hang out with amazing chefs like you for the rest of my life, that's what Chat.Travel is all about. This is my platform to be able to do that. So I feel you, brother. God rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's some chefs coming and going, but yeah, I've got a lot of cookbooks, so I read a lot of them. But it's, yeah, so still Bra Momofuku is one of my, maybe, American chef. Oh, God, I forget. What is,
It's okay. He'll come to you.
No, you will Napa Valley.
Oh, Napa, yeah.
Exactly.
That guy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
French Laundry.
Yeah,
Thomas Keller.
Yes.
Thomas Keller is incredible.
Sorry, Thomas, if you're watching this show. You are amazing. All right, cool. And let's one final question. If you had some advice to give to a young chef or restaurateur, what would it be?
Young chef, well, knowing that I've had a lot of young chefs that went through my kitchen and now are successful on their own, from Francis with Nefele or Chang now in Hanoi with Chapter or Ip, who just opened upstairs. If you haven't tried, try it.
I've been.
Follow your heart. Take your time. Take your time to learn as well. It's not you don't have to be a head chef at 24 years old. It's learn, enjoy the ride, and do what you love. Don't. If you feel forced to do something, just don't do it. Do it your way. That's it.
That's it.
And be genuine. Be genuine. Don't fall into the marketing blah blah bullshit.
Okay. No marketing blah blah bullshit from the man's mouth. You heard it here first, guys.
Be genuine.
Thank you very much, Chef. It was a pleasure. Cheers to have you on the show. And thanks to you, everyone, for watching. This is Chat.Travel. Have an incredible day. I'm Tracy May. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.